My name's Lisa Maude and I'm the National Disability Coordination Officer for the Sydney region. So that is basically a role that we're a national role where there are 31 NDCOs across the country, and we work with stakeholders largely and service providers around helping to make the transition into employment and tertiary studies easier and more empowering for people with disability. That's basically what we do, and one of my key roles that's actually quite an important role when I come to meetings like this is that I work with networks. So when people need to network within the disability, health and education sectors, I'm often the linchpin for making those connections. So if you're a service somewhere within the Sydney region, or actually anywhere in New South Wales, or Australia for that matter, I can link you up with other people who are working within education and employment and some health in the disability sector. Our goal is to empower, improve linkages, improve transition and improve participation, as I said, in employment and education. So we do things like we talk at presentations, we deliver a whole range of resources which are really useful toolkits for students who are, looking at transitioning into education and employment. So this is an example of a booklet that I've got that we distribute, and you can find all our resources online. We also have a set of resources also for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with disabilities, and we really encourage schools and other organisations to be able to have resources on tap so that when the discussions come up that a service or a school or whatever it is well resourced to be able to support a student or a person moving forward. So we very much advocate for your rights in education, and this is a booklet that just explains the rights around people with disabilities to be able to access education and employment. The only way that you can access services is if you're willing to disclose, and in order to do that you need to be really empowered to be able to know what it is that you need to be able to access a reasonable adjustment. And if you don't tell the university or the TAFE or your workplace what you need, no one can support you and help you. And if you look at the thing is to tick the box when you're applying for university or applying for TAFE, and you will then get contacted by the Inclusion Disability Services, and they will give you these forms that included in the NDIS are it is going to be the year of filling out forms, 2017 as far as I can tell. But when you fill out these forms, it's really important that you give clear and precise information about what it is that you need in order for you to succeed. So you need to have the evidence from your doctors that clearly explain, this is my vision impairment and these are the solutions that I need in order to be able to move forward. And I guess that's probably my biggest take-home message in having dealt with the universities and TAFE and employment, is that they often say one of the biggest barriers to students with disabilities is they don't provide enough information for the institution to be able to put in the services that they need. So if you're going to TAFE or university, the options that are available for students include sign language interpreters, note takers, readers and writers for assignment, tutorial support, adaptive technology, and reducing programs so that maybe the workload is not as intense, or that you have longer time to do and exams and other modifications like that. That there's often mentoring for those who have hearing and sight impairments, or also other people with physical disabilities. So all the services are there. It just is that you need to feel comfortable and willing to negotiate and participate in the programs. One of the big barriers is also that particularly the universities say, is that they can't deal with parents. They have to deal with the student. And I guess the biggest skill as parents we can give our children is to empower them to be able to advocate for themselves, to be able to move forward with what they need in those adult settings, because the university is not going to ring you up and say, your child hasn't returned its, assignments, or it's not turning up for class. Make your kids strong so that when they do go to uni, they're willing to participate and work with the inclusion and disability services so that they are better skilled at being able to succeed at university and work. That's about it, really. So if you do have a service in the area that needs networking, my contact details will be with Renee, and it'd be really good to hear from you, because there's a lot of movement around Sydney about getting networks up and running, and people need to know exactly what's out there, particularly with the NDIS. Thank you.